Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. My name is Lacey, and today I made a tier list of every anime that came out in 2023 that I have watched. I didn't include any Netflix originals because I didn't feel like it. So, without further ado, let's start this ranking because we have quite a bit to do. The Apothecary Diaries. We're starting off pretty good, huh? I really enjoy the Apothecary Diaries. Takes place in China too, which is pretty unique for anime. Usually they always take place in Japan or an unspecified fantasy world. And I really enjoy the characters in this too. Like Mao Mao isn't the typical ditzy girl who falls in love with anyone she meets. She's actually how a real person would act. And, it's a medical drama, which we don't really get in anime. I mean, yeah, I guess it's technically a medical drama. It's a medical mystery, and there's some drama in there. But yeah, this is a perfect show. Perfect scenery, perfect art style, perfect animation, good characters. I just like everything about it, basically. And we're not stopping right now because we also have the 100 Girlfriends, which is also a pretty good show. This is definitely peak harem. And it basically tells you what this show is about from the title. This guy gets 100 girlfriends. Anytime he looks at someone, they just wind up falling in love with him because why not? And this show is great. The art style is way too good for a harem. This show is fantastic. I like shows that know that they have a shitty plot and play into it. And they make fun of themselves and other genres. And their own genre, I should say. After School Hanako-kun. I, I don't really know what to rank this because this isn't really a show. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's a spin-off of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, obviously. But it's only 4 episodes, and each 4 episodes only like 10 minutes. And it's more or less just random shenanigans. So I don't really know. I don't know why I added this here. But it's here, so I might as well rank it. It's good. It's good for what it is. It's not a show, so it's not really fair. But, whatever. Our Turner's magic should be special. I think that's what this one is. Yep, I see Desir, and it has a pretty unique art style. Uh, this one's a little harder to rank because the plot itself is pretty generic. It's just a power fantasy. This guy goes back in time because he dies and he meets all his comrades again that died and tries to rebuild his party or something. It's pretty generic plot, but the characters carry it. The characters are pretty good and they bounce off each other well. So I think I'd actually put this above Hanako-kun. All right, now 16-bit sensations. What can I say about this show? It was good in the beginning. It caught my eye because art, not the art, but plot art. This girl is an illustrator who works for a company, but then find some old games that makes her travel back in time, and she goes to her company in the past. There's new people, and she works there for a little bit, but then she keeps going to the future or present, I guess. But if it was just that, it would have been good. But then it tried to be too sci-fi. It went too far into the time travel aspect. And then in the last episode, they had like people in tubes and stuff, and that dropped it down from a good to an all right. It was trying to be too complicated. I don't appreciate that. All right, now Ayakashi Triangle. This is another show that's sort of like where Turner's Magic should be special, where the plot itself isn't anything special. It's just some ninja stuff where the main guy turns into a girl and whatever. But the etchy stuff carries it. And the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously, that also helps. But I don't think I put it good though. It's definitely better than 16-bit sensations to me, but it's definitely not good. Now we have our first isekai. I don't even remember what the title for this one is, but it's terrible. Enough said. It's terrible. It's a generic isekai. This guy this guy and his class, they get isekai to another world. He's already been isekai'd once before, but now he did it again with his entire class, and it's not good. Berserk of Gluttony. I think that's what this show is. No, Berserk of Gluttony. What can I really say about this show? It's another generic power fantasy that it's like an amalgamation of other power fantasies and isekais and whatever. Like the main guy is your generic black-haired protagonist, and is got blonde-haired knight that protects him for some reason. And we learned that the weapons that that they get is represented by the seven deadly sins. I don't know what their obsession with the seven deadly sins is in Japan, but I've watched countless shows with it in it. And there's a lot of other comparisons. Like the main dude's power is gluttony. He gets a talking sword. Like I mean, I still enjoyed watching it. It's not good. Like, let's get that out of the way. It's not a good show, but I'd put it above 16-bit sensations. Below Ayakashi Triangle because I enjoyed that one more, but I'd still rank it above. Alright, this show, no explanation. Buddy Daddies. The show that everyone thought was a Spy Family ripoff. But I don't think it is. And I really enjoyed this show. Yeah, nothing else to really say. It's going up in good. Good, great, I mean. Below 100 Girlfriends, because I enjoy 100 Girlfriends a little bit more. But, Buddy Daddies is still pretty good. Now, this one's going to be a little hard to rank. Because if this was a list of anime in general, season 3 of Demon Slayer would definitely be going in good. But this is a 2023 ranking. So compared to all these shows, I think this is going to go in great. Where though? Is it better than Buddy Daddies? I don't know. Season 3 of Demon Slayer is definitely the weakest. I think it's better than Buddy Daddies. The animation definitely carries it more. Now, this is another isekai technically. It kind of tries to be unique in how it's an isekai, but it fails. This show is bad. Like not as bad as this show, obviously, but it's bad. I've heard it's pretty popular in Japan, which I find weird because this show is shit. It's flat out terrible. Like the main guy, he starts off as a fat dude, then he gets super skinny and handsome after he goes through the mirror to the isekai world and he gets super powerful and yada yada yada. You already know. Dead Mount Death Play. Ooh, I really enjoyed Dead Mount Death Play. This show is actually created by the same guy who written Durarara and Bakano. This is definitely the worst of the three, but I still really enjoyed Dead Mount Death Play. Where would I put it? I think I'd put it right there. That looks correct to me. Now, what is this show? Is this the pig isekai? The pig isekai. Well, it has Japan gone too far with isekais. This guy eats a raw pig liver and he reincarnates as a pig. And he goes on an adventure with this girl who they say wants to eat him, but I haven't seen that. So I think they clickbaited us a little bit with the synopsis. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Like, it's unique in its own way, but it's definitely uh, in the bottom of all right so far. Hey, now Dark Gathering. Dark Gathering. I really enjoy Dark Gathering. A lot of people they say that horror anime suck, and a lot of them do, frankly. A lot of them are pretty terrible, but I really enjoyed Dark Gathering. Like the scenery with the ghosts are really well made and actually look like they just came out of a manga, which I haven't seen in a lot of horror anime, which is pretty good. So I'd put this up in great. Where though? Did I enjoy this more than Dead Mount Death Play? I think I have. All right. What's this show? Classroom of Heroes. I think this is the title. This one was pretty generic. This one is one of those shows where there's no real plot. It's just kind of random stuff happening each episode. It's still not that bad of a show. I definitely rank it higher than the Pig Isekai, but it's still not that great. It's all right. That's what the entire point of this category is. It's not good. It's not terrible. It's right in the middle. All right. Dan Machi. This is season 4. Season 4 is definitely the heaviest season so far. This is definitely the most serious season. But Me personally, I didn't really enjoy this as much as a lot of other people seemed to. Like, don't get me wrong, I still like Dan Machi, but I don't didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of other people did. I think it's gonna go on top in the top of good. What is this show? This is Disgraced Noble. I'm giving the disgraced noble lady a crash course in naughtiness, I think is the entire title. But despite the title, there's no naughtiness involved. This is probably one of the most wholesome shows out of this entire list. Where would I put it? It's definitely gonna go in good, but where? I think right there. I think I enjoy a Returner's Magic a little bit more. All right, and now we're on to a show that I think I'm one of the only people who actually watched. This show is called Dog Signal, and it's legit just about a dog trainer and someone who's stuck taking care of their ex's dog. Eh, That's about it. You meet some cute dogs and whatever. It's not a bad show. I'd top of all right, I'd say. All right. Now, saving 80,000 gold. This is also technically an isekai, but it's more unique in the way that they do it because she doesn't die. She just gets the power to go to different worlds and she exploits it to make money, which is pretty unique. And this author has another show here somewhere that I think is worse and actually dropped. And this is definitely the better of the two. So I'd put it in good. Aware. Did I enjoy Crash Course more? No, that doesn't look right. Yeah, that's better. Dr. Stone, season 3. I really enjoy Dr. Stone. Now, the first half of this season, I didn't enjoy as much as the second half, but it's still pretty good. So I'm gonna put it in great. Aware. I think I'm actually gonna put it above Demon Slayer. No, I think I'm actually gonna put it above 100 Girlfriends. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, this is another show that I don't think many people have actually watched. I forget what the title of this show is. I think it's something a regular witch. This witch, she finds a baby in the forest and takes care of her, and random stuff happens. This is a lot like the Classroom of Heroes show, where each episode is just different shenanigans that happen, and there's no actual story involved. Just fine, but which one did I prefer? I think I actually like this one better. Okay, now here's some good shit. Frieren. Frieren is definitely gonna go in perfect. Top of perfect. This show is great. This elf girl, since she lives for so long, she basically watches everyone around her die, and and she's kind of turned into an emotionless person because of it. And the characters are written really well. Like, yeah, it's a slow burn, but when you get to the action scenes and character progressions and stuff, this is a top tier show. There's a reason this is at the top of fall 2023. Firefighter Daigo. Oh boy, where would I put this? Now, this show is basically just for the people who wanted an actual firefighter show instead of like Fire Force and stuff like that. This show's just about regular ass firefighters. And sometimes the world that they live in look like it's fucking it looks like it's the end of the world sometimes. I don't know why. And this show is not that good. Like it's not terrible. I wouldn't put in terrible. It's not that good though. Uh I think the plot of Firefighter Daigo is better than a lot of the other shows, but I didn't really enjoy it as much because the characters are kind of bland. Now, man, this is such a tragedy. Goblin Slayer Season 2. Man, I love Goblin Slayer, man, but I have to put it in at the top of all right. Goblin Slayer really doesn't do anything new with its plot. It's just literally what it says on the title. It's just this guy who kills goblins, and that's the only thing that happens. There's literally like no story involved, which sucks because I really enjoyed first season of Goblin Slayer. Now this is one of the few isekais that aired in 2023 that I actually enjoyed. This is Handyman Saito. And obviously it's about this guy who's a handyman who dies and gets reincarnated, but it's more unique. The characters are good. Yeah, it's a good show. Where would I put it though? Um, I think right there is fine. Yeah, that looks all right. All right. Ooh, Heavenly Delusion. Hmm. Now this show is great. Let's get that out of the way. This show is fantastic. But the final episodes, I should say, there was like two episodes, I think, where the main and where the girl finally meets the doctor in her original town or something. He starts to yeah, if you know, you know. But yeah, from what I hear in the manga, they haven't really brought that back up, which kind of drops it down from a perfect to a great to me. I put it above Demon Slayer though, to be honest. Actually, no, I think I'd put it above 100 Girlfriends. I think Dr. Stone is still the best out of the great here, though. Awesome Mune-kun. Now, now, this show I've watched the two seasons back to back. I've watched this pretty recently, so I haven't been waiting as long for a season two as a lot of other people have. But I imagine it sucked waiting like what 7 years for a second season. Yeah, it's a good. It's your typical high school romance. Where would I put it? That doesn't look right. I can put it right there. It's not a fantastic show. Like I said, it's pretty generic high school rom com, but it's good. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. Oh boy, this is perfect. Would they put it above Frieren though? No, I don't think so. Actually, maybe because I'm also rating this on how much I enjoyed the show and was engaged with the show. I think I've been more excited for Jujutsu Kaisen out of all of these shows. I mean, I don't really need to explain myself either. If you've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, you know why it's at the top. Okay, what show is this? Is this Helk? I think this is Helk. Uh, Helk. I like Helk. Helk is a good show. Is this guy? This guy is a human, but he hates humanity, and he goes to the demon realm in a tournament, and he's like the strongest guy there. And the one Lady Vermilio, I think her name was, she doesn't like him as much because he's a human, but all the other demons like him and whatever, and comes an adventure kind of after that, and it's a good show. Why am I trying to explain the plot? I'm already gonna edit in the plots. Uh, where would he put it? I think right there. I think I actually enjoyed Hulk more than a Returner's Magic Should Be Special. Dan Machi is still at the top, though. Oh, this is the other show I was talking about that the guy that made, or guy, I don't know if it was a guy or not. The author made Saving 80,000 Gold. This is the other show. This show is not as good. I didn't really care about this show as much. So it's going on top of terrible. This show is not good. And I hear it got even worse. I dropped it around episode 5, I think. And I hear it got even worse. So, yeah. Now we're back to good. Hell's Paradise. Hell's Paradise. I really like Hell's Paradise. So it's going in perfect, obviously. I don't need to explain myself. If you've watched it, you know why. Is it better than the Apothecary Diaries? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is better than the Apothecary Diaries. Now, a perfect show to a terrible show. This is another show I dropped. This is Kamiarabi. Never mind the terrible or terrible. I shouldn't say terrible. I don't think it was actually that bad. The CGI that they use is very off-putting to look at. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like it's very weird animation. But yeah, this is a death game anime, which in itself is pretty bad. A lot of death game shows are usually terrible or all right. This one is terrible. The characters are pretty boring. It's basically the Future Diary met Darwin's Game. and this is their secret love child or something. Uh, is it better or worse than Cheat Skill? I think it's worse. Yeah. Oh, keep in mind, nothing's gonna beat this show. Inakai's Dog is the worst show that aired in 2023. Horror Mia Peace. Now this show is great. It's it's basically unadapted chapters from Horror Mia, the original season, but that didn't make the cut. I really enjoy it. Where would I put? Oh, I think I'd put it right there. It's better than Demon Slayer, not as good as 100 Girlfriends. Another show I dropped, Magical Destroyers. Uh, I, I didn't really care for this show. It was fun in the beginning, but then it got a little too boring to me. I dropped it around episode 8, I think. And I hear that it got even worse. Like the ending was like a promote or something. It's not terrible. I'm gonna put it in all right. Where is the question? I think I'd put it in the end actually. I think it's even worse than the piggies Isekai. Now, another good show. We got Ice Guy and his female colleague, which is workplace rom-com, where the characters are what was the Dare Kudere? We don't really get too much of those, which is pretty cool. No pun intended. Uh, where do I put it in good though? Is it better than Masamune-kun? Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd put it right there. It's better than Masamune-kun, but I enjoyed saving 80,000 gold a little bit better. Now, Kamikatsu. What can I say about Kamikatsu? This show is another isekai, but it's a very, very unique isekai. It's going on top of all right. It's a very fun show to watch, but it's not a good show. It's a fun watch, but it's not a good show. uh, Masterful Cat. This show is good as well. Where would you put it in good? Hmm, I think I'd put it on the top, actually. I think I enjoyed it more than Dan Machi. It's basically the way of the house husband if the husband was a cat, is what I always thought when watching this show. Okay, we're going actually quicker than I thought. Miki and Dolly. This show is great. I was originally gonna put it in good, but compared to all of 2023 shows, I think this show is actually great. It's unique. It's not like an isekai or a slice of life or anything like that. It's it's weird. If you've watched it, you know what I mean, but it's unique. And sadly, the author passed away. and she also made Sakamote-kun, I think is the name, which I haven't actually watched, but I hear that the comedy is pretty similar. Where would I put it in great though? Ooh, did I enjoy it more than Buddy Daddies? I think I have. Yeah, man. Mm, such a shame that Buddy Daddies is at the end. I thought it'd be higher up, but I'm learning that I didn't actually enjoy it as much as these shows. Now, this show is the first, not first. This show is kind of disappointing. Like it's not bad. It's a Konosuba spinoff with Megumin and like what led up to her joining the party and whatever. But I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So I'm think I'm gonna put it at the end of good. It sucks. Not the show. The show doesn't suck, but it sucks that I have to put it at the end of good. High Card. Now, High Card is a weird show because I like the idea of it. Like, it's basically like adult Yu-Gi-Oh! In a way, like gambling Yu-Gi-Oh! But the show itself isn't anything that great. It's good. Like I'm gonna put it at the end of good, but it's not nothing great. It's the main thing that I didn't like was that there's technically five main characters, but yet only two of them really matter. I don't think one of them even have an episode. Like they're still considered a main character, but I don't think they've ever actually gotten their own episode, which is pretty similar to another show that's here somewhere. But let's now focus on that and Mashal. Mashal is great. Where would I put it in great? I don't think I put it in perfect. Uh, where would I put it in great? I think, I think there. I think there is good. I think it's below Heavenly Delusion, but above 100 Girlfriends. Now, Mashoko Tensei Season 2, Part 1. It's not over yet, so I'm gonna try not to let that get in the way of it. But the first season, or first part, I should say, I thought was pretty good. I'm gonna put in perfect. End of perfect, though, sadly. I think the Apothecary Diaries is better. It's better than Doctor Stone, though. What was the title of the show? Ninjin Fusion? I don't remember. I'm saying the Japanese title, but the American title, or English title, not American. The English title is like I don't know. These guys got fucked over by humanity, and they form a party. That's basically what the entire plot is. It's not that great of a show either. It's a pretty generic, boring show. Put it at the end of all right. My new boss is Goofy. Now this show is pretty good. This is basically Cool Doji Danshi if you watch that or Play It Cool Guys, but in workplace. But every character is a workplace person instead of a yeah. So it's good. Where would I put it though? Um ooh. Mm, I'd put it below Disgraced Noble Lady. I think right there is a fine placement. Now another workplace rom-com, My Tiny Senpai. Now, since this is basically similar to Ice Guy, I'm gonna put it near it. Is it better or not? I think I enjoyed Ice Guy a little bit better. I mean, it's a fun show. It's basically My Senpai is Annoying if anybody watched that, but the roles are reversed, and the tiny tiny woman is the senpai instead, and that's basically it. Now, My Home Hero. This show was disappointing because I hear that the source material is very good, but the show itself is kind of boring. And the animation doesn't really help because everything looks so stiff and lifeless. Uh, yeah, I think I have to put it right there, unfortunately. Now, My Happy Marriage. My Happy Marriage, compared to 2023 shows, is definitely great because it doesn't fuck around. It doesn't do the will they, won't they. Not like as soon as she meets this guy, they grow together and have a relationship. And it's in a medieval setting too, which a lot of romances usually aren't. Where would I put it though? I think this is the first. I think this is the first great show that's actually below Buddy Daddies. The Nagatoro. Don't don't toy with me, Nagatoro season 2. I really enjoy Nagatoro actually. Usually I don't enjoy the teasing shows, but I actually enjoy this one pretty much. Where would I put it though? Uh, I think I'd put Nagatoro season 2 right there. Actually, I'm gonna put it above Hulk. There we go. That looks better. Liar, Liar, also known as No Game, No Life season 2, that failed. This show is a disappointment. This show is gonna go in all right. I don't think it's terrible, but it's definitely going at the end of all right. Because the show itself is kind of boring and the rules for the games are kind of too complicated. And the characters themselves are pretty generic as well. So yeah, I'm putting it at the end of all right. Now this is my clueless first friend. But this doesn't actually. I don't think this is actually labeled as a romance. This is a slice of life of these two kids that the girl is a social outcast and the little kid plays with her and whatever. It's a good show. It's a nice cute show. Where would I put it? I don't think this show is anything that special. I think I'd put it right there. Better than the Konosuba spinoff and High Card. Now, Onimai. Fun thing about Onimai is this is actually one of the first mangas that I actually read. And did the anime make it better? No. I don't think the adaptation was that great. Still good. Still a fun, cute show. Uh this guy, he sister turns him into a girl to make him touch some grass, and it works a little too well, and he becomes very feminine, and he still denies it though. Where would I put it? I think I put it right there. Better than saving 80,000 gold, but not as good as Benny Maru or Benny Maru. Handyman Saito. I mean, the fuck did Benny Maru come from? Ragnar Crimson. Now, unfortunately, this show turned from great to good. Now, put on top of good. Now, why it went from great to good is because even though it's a very edgy show, like it's obviously supposed to be like edge, it's good. I enjoy the characters; they're pretty unique. But when the point that I didn't really care for it was when it went they introduced more human characters that will align themselves with Ragna and Crimson. I didn't really care about them. Like the leader was a lovesick girl, and all her goons is like stupid fucking people. Yeah, it could drop it down from great to good. Now, I don't know how many of you have actually watched this show. This is level one Demon Lord to One Room Hero, I think is the full title. This show is good. This show is one of those shows that I don't think I will remember because I don't think it's very memorable. Still a pretty good show though. I put it where would I put it? I think I'd put it right below my new boss's Goofy. That looks fine. Now, what is this show? This Aran Kaminohashi's Forbidden Deductions? I think so. This show is also good. It's gonna be at the top. Where though? I think I'd put it below Danmachi. It's basically just a murder mystery detective show with with this Ron, who's our kind of like shut in detective who pressures people to kill themselves. And he's like a super good detective and whatever. What is this show? I think this is Rukodo's Bad Girls, I think is the name. Uh, this show weirdly reminds me of Tokyo Revengers in a way. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's a weak protagonist who gets in line with a bunch of delinquent girls. That's kind of where the similarities end. It's definitely going in all right because it's not that great of a show. Kind of forgettable. Where would I put it though? I think I'd put it above 16-bit sensations, but below Berserk of Gluttony. Ooh, Shangri-La Frontier. This show is great. No explanations. It's a it's an MMO game that's actually an MMO game, which is unique in its own right, where this guy is fucking amazing at video games. He's basically the better version of Kirito. Where would I put it? Ooh, I think I put it better than 100 Girlfriends, actually. Below Mashal. I enjoy Mashal a little bit more. Okay, now this is a weird show to rate. Shield Hero, season 3. Now, ignore season 2 of Shield Hero. Season 3 is actually not that bad. It's not as good as the first season, obviously. I don't think anything will be as good as the first season of Shield Hero that they can come up with, but season 3 is a massive step up from season 2. Still only going to go in good, though. Where would I put it? That's a good question. I have way too many shows now. I think I'd put there. I think I'd put it below Health, but above of Returner's Magic should be special. Revenger. Now, I don't I didn't really care about this show. In the beginning I thought it was cool, but then it got I don't know. I don't really know why I didn't stop liking it as much as I did. But it's gonna go on top of alright. Like, not a bad show. It's just I don't know, something happened that made me not like it as much. Shy. This is another alright show. It was disappointing because it's one of the few shows where I actually heard about it from other people. But when the actual show came out, it kind of turned boring. Like, it was like too happy go lucky for me, which is not a bad thing. It's just not. I don't really like shows that are like, there's gonna have action, but it's happy go lucky and nothing bad's gonna happen. And this also kind of shares the same problem with High Card, where they introduce like 6 heroes in the first season, I think, but only 2 of them really matter to the plot. It's gonna go in alright. Where I think I'd put it above Dog Signal, but below Goblin Slayer. Now, this is the show I was talking about that was really like high card in the aspect of there was like 5 or 6 main characters, but only like 1 or 2 of them really mattered. This show does that a lot. There's like only 2 characters that got like stories, and the other 4 was just kind of cast out. And like one of the guys that ironically, I think his name is Guy, he doesn't even like barely even shows up in any of the episodes. And the plot itself is also kind of it's a wizard school. The animation is good. I'll give it that. The animation goes pretty hard. But the show itself is not very good, which is unfortunate because I really was looking forward to it. And every episode that got worse and worse, I was like, no, no, this is a good show. This is not a bad show. But no, in the end, I accepted this show's not very good. I think I think I'd put it below the Pig Isekai, actually. Now, this is terrible. This is gonna go right with the Summoner's Magic or whatever the fuck. This show is equally as terrible. It tries to be a fun, quirky isekai, but it's very generic at the same time. Where like this kid, he
Let's see what's next. Oh, this one is our dating story. A lot of people actually hated this one because they think the main girl is a slut and the main guy was too much of a loser. But I don't know, I kinda like this one. So I'd put it up in good to be honest. Where would I put it though? I think I'm just gonna throw it down here with most of the other romances. Yeah, that looks right to me. Okay, now here's some good shit. A lot of people would probably say this is the best anime that aired in 2023. Oshi no Ko is definitely a perfect show. I had a blast watching this show despite the random romance bullshit they throw in there every now and again. I don't think we get many shows about the horrors of the entertainment industry either, which is pretty cool. Now onto a show that was remade this year. Rurouni Kenshin 2023. You know, I've never actually watched the original Rurouni Kenshin, which I probably should have, but I didn't, so oh well. I thought it was good. Not anything too special, the art and animation is a bit lacking in my opinion, but it's a good show all around. Is it a good remake? I have no clue, but I had fun with it regardless. I'll put it above A Returner's Magic Should Be Special but below Shield Hero Season 3. Next we have Spy Family Season 2, which surprisingly doesn't have as much hype as Season 1. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough. But we all know where Spy Family is going, it's going in great. I've always enjoyed watching Spy Family even if the story itself keeps getting stopped for random shenanigans. And we finally get to see her in action with the cruise ship arc. It's going near the top of great, but where exactly? I think below Heavenly Delusion is a fair placement. Wow, look at that, a villainous anime. This is Tear Moon Empire, which is honestly a pretty good show. Finally, not a shitty villainous anime. This girl does something and gets publicly executed and travels back in time, but after that the whole tone switches to a comedy shoujo, which is kind of strange. But the more it went on, the more it drawn me into the world and characters. The way the main girl talks gets a little annoying after a while, but that's about my only complaint. I like how the narrator makes fun of Mia every chance he gets to. So yeah, Tear Moon Empire is going in good. I think under Oh Nima is good. It's back, baby. Eminence in Shadow Season 2 is back, but unfortunately is only 12 episodes long. You know, I don't know if this is just me, but I personally wasn't as hyped for this as Season 1. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great show, I fucking love this bizarre world and characters. I don't know, this season didn't hit as much for me as a couple other shows this season. I'd still put it above Horimiya, Peace, but below 100 Girlfriends. Another show I just watched recently and conveniently had a Season 2 in summer is The Duke of Death and His Maid. This is one of those comfort shows to me, it's not a show I'd recommend at the top of my head, matter of fact I probably wouldn't even think of it. But it's a good romance comedy set in medieval times or whatever time period we're in. I wasn't as big of a fan of Season 2, not because it was bad, just because they put more focus on the witches and I didn't really care about the witch stuff. All in all, it a good show, I'd put it above My New Boss Is Goofy. Whoops. Sorry, I made a mistake, the thumbnails looked similar, I meant above the ice guy and his cool female colleague.
And
Now we have some good fucking food. Temple rivals other ecchis this season of who can push the most boundaries. We got a guy who's trying his damnedest to be a good monk but is surrounded by boobies. What more could you ask for? Is this show tasteless? Probably. Is it degrading? Maybe. Is it fun? Hell yes it is. If you're a person who can just turn their brain off and have fun, I promise you'll love this show. But as for this list, it's only going in good. Below Rurouni Kenshin 2023 but above A Returner's Magic Should Be Special. How many people actually watch this show? Just me probably. This show is called The Gene of AI. It's basically Detroit Become Human in anime form done in a worse way but still manages to be good. This human doctor specializes in humanoids and robots, and each small story connects back to him and shows the good and bad of the future of AI. That's as best as I can explain it. This show flew under the radar and even has a pretty bad score on Mal, but I thought it was a good show, nothing to write home about, but it wasn't too bad. I think we might have a new contender to be at the bottom of good. Have you ever felt lonely? Watching people be happy and just have a better life than you? Then go watch Tonikawa. This is the second season, and honestly, I don't remember much from the second season. I think it's pretty much more of the same from season 1, which is fine for a show like Tonikawa. This is honestly one of my favorite romances. Like sure, it's incredibly unrealistic, fucking nobody in real life is gonna get married to a person they just met in a day. But this is anime, goddammit, who cares about realism? I'm gonna honestly put this up in great. From a good show to a shit show, we got the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy. I hardly need to explain myself if you've watched it. It's just bad. Generic plot, generic characters, everything about this show just screams generic. And wow, look at that, a bunch of girls who will probably end up with the MC as a harem. Wait, but the MC has the body of a 10-year-old boy, oh god, not again Japan. I dropped it at episode 9 because I just got too bored with it. I watch a lot of garbage, so if you manage to make me give up on you out of boredom, then you're doing something wrong. Yeah, this show is just terrible, putting it above the two shit Kais. But we're bringing it back with another rom-com. The Dangers in My Heart is a show I didn't expect to like as much as I do. It starts off with this kid who could easily turn into a school shooter, but he's actually just an edgelord who probably read too many creepypastas. The most popular girl in school named Yamada ends up spending more time with our Jeff the Killer wannabe, and slowly they form some sort of relationship. See? The plot sounds generic as shit. But something about this show is really good, and I don't know what. I'm honestly gonna throw this up in great and throw it down with the other romances. Another show that's more a comfort show rather than a proper show I'd recommend is Too Cute Crisis. A show about an alien girl who plans to destroy Earth but discovers the most terrifyingly cute species of them all. Cats? And now she's hesitant to destroy Earth and yada yada yada, but cute animals though. The alien girl strangely kinda resembles a cat too. Cats are the true beings who will take over. But yeah, this show is good. Unfortunately, I'm gonna throw it at the end of good, but it's still good. Holy moly, this was a good year for spicy shows. Not good as in quantity, good as in actually enjoyable anime. The Legendary Hero is Dead is a wacky fantasy show that takes the concept of what if we have the OP hero die in the most stupid way and pass the torch to a random village pervert that's good at making strategies. And that's what I like about this show, they do the impossible. Actually making the pervert character likable. But as far as the other characters, they're kind of meh. The childhood friend is pretty basic and whatever. But I really enjoyed this show, going in good. Going Under Temple. Here's another surprise of the year. Undead Murder Girl Farce is a weird murder mystery show set in England in the 1800s. But that's not the unique part, that comes in the form of monsters. Our main detective is an immortal woman looking for the man who stole her body. She specializes in monster-related cases. Vampires, werewolves, we got it all, folks. This is definitely the best detective show this year, and it's going up in grade. But where? I think I'll put it under Dead Mount Deathplay. Not stopping the undead stuff, we have Undead Unluck. A show I caught wind of and immediately was like, damn, I need to watch this. It starts off with Fuko, a girl who's ready to go commit Unalive. Why? Well, because anyone who touches her gets bad luck. So is it like a minor inconvenience? No, a fucking meteor might fall down and crush them. We also have Andy, an undead man who can rival Wolverine on who was the best regenerative ability. Andy can fly through the air using his blood, use his bones like swords. We have it all. Blood, action, good animation, titties, it's a massively fun ride that is unfortunately only going in great. Top of great though, I think I did enjoy this more than Dr. Stone Season 3. Hey, look at that, another Isekai, Campfire Cooking in Another World starts off with Mukoda who's summoned in another world while the other people summoned along with him have cool and powerful abilities. Mukoda has the best power of all, Amazon Prime. He's also good at cooking, which if you couldn't tell by the title is kind of the whole point of the show. Mappa is out here flexing their ability to draw appetizing food. Mukoda also gets blessed by the gods along with his familiars, but unlike most Izekais they don't get super OP. Well, maybe the familiars are, but Mukoda isn't. Enough rambling, it's a great show. Putting it below Mijai and Dali. Oh, the tragedy that is the Kingdoms of Ruin. Had such potential, but then it went downhill faster than I've seen any anime go. Sure, it was just your basic revenge edgy anime, but it had a good idea. Magic versus technology, humans versus witches, Adonis versus the world. But then it switched tones after like 5 episodes, then tried to get back to being edgy and serious, but it was already too far gone by then. The animation is also kind of dull, which doesn't do it any favors. And it also doesn't really make sense the more you think about it either. Why would Adonis immediately just resort to killing all of humanity instead of the guy who killed his witch trainer? Like, wouldn't you at least try to be like, hey, maybe I should get to know some humans before I write them all off as shit stains who would murder anyone for their own amusement, but whatever. Also the pink-haired witch they have tag along with Adonis is so annoying sometimes. Like, yeah, I'm a pretty peaceful person myself, but like, shouldn't you hate humans for killing your kind? Like I get being nice to random civilians, but this bitch is like trying to talk to the big shots who are trying to murder them. All that said though, this show is still fun to watch. It's not good, but I'm gonna put it in alright. Right above Liar Liar. Not stopping with the train wrecks, we have The Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2. Oh, what a disgrace this is compared to Season 1. You know, I really tried to like this season. I actually didn't mind the first half, to be honest. But then the second half came and I was like, holy shit, this is bad. I always hate when shows try to get needlessly complicated, and this show did just that. They added these sisters that are actually weapons. A random human girl who knows and helps the angels or something, I don't remember. The fucking landlady is also in on it for some reason. They go deeper into angels versus demons, which should be cool, but they fail at it. And Chiho is even more annoying than she was in Season 1 or even the first half of the season. No questions about it, going in terrible. Again, not stopping, we have The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. A lot of people liked this show and did too for a few episodes. And Gohans did a fucking marvelous job on the art and animation. However, the plot is this boy who likes this girl who forgets her glasses. And that's the extent of the plot. Like, that's not even that funny of a gimmick, and the boy is very nervous about everything. Like, she offered him to wear her glasses and he's like, oh no, am I really gonna wear her glasses? Like, bro, I get being nervous around your crush, but that's just come on. There's also barely any other settings or characters. It's boring as shit, so in my opinion it's going at the top of terrible. Next we have Tokyo Revengers Season 2. Now, Tokyo Revengers has kind of lost its reputation, and I hear the manga ending was pretty shitty. But I actually enjoy this season, second half more, but the first half was still good. I know the manga is probably better and whatever. But I don't care, I enjoyed this season of the anime and I will probably read the manga after it ends. Compared to all of anime in 2023, Tokyo Revengers is going in great. But where? I think I'd put it above Dark Gathering. But below Demon Slayer Season 3. Now we have an anime that will probably be forgotten when it ends. The Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess. It's not a bad show, and it has fun dynamics like Komari having to put on a tough act or else her army will immediately overthrow her at any sign of weakness. And the obvious Yuri bait shots are pretty, well, let's be real, they're pretty good shots. But this suffers the same issue as a lot of villainous type anime do. It's kind of boring. When Komari gets a taste of blood and gets super OP, then it turns fun, but everything else is kind of meh in my opinion. I'd still put it in good though, near the bottom though, behind High Card. Let's Go Baby, we've hit peak Isekai. This is definitely the best Isekai we've ever gotten. Fuck Zero, fuck Mushoku Tensei, fuck reincarnated as a slime. This is the real shit. No, but seriously, the show actually wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. It wasn't good by any means, and the whole vending machine gimmick gets boring pretty quickly, but it was still alright. What I was disappointed with is that he's a normal vending machine with no special items inside or anything. Like, yeah, he can change from different types of vending machines, but like do something to make him somewhat powerful. And also this season just felt like a build-up to another season, which I'm not too fond of. And yes, the fucking vending machine Isekai is getting a second season, but still No Game No Life Season 2. Bullshit, man. I'll put it right below Classroom for Heroes. Next we have a show that I still say was underrated this season, Under Ninja. A show about, well, fucking ninjas. That's about the best I can explain it, to be honest, just ninjas killing other ninjas. It was a good show too. Usually shows like this end up being mediocre, but I really enjoyed this one. The ending, however, does feel like a cop-out to have an excuse for a second season, and like most of these shows, the art and animation is a bit lacking, therefore dropping the show's quality. But I had fun watching this every Thursday. And this might be a shocker, but I'm gonna put it below Shield Hero Season 3. Wow, what's this, another villainous anime? They just don't stop coming. This show had a long-ass title, so I just refer to it as From Villainous to Savior. This girl ends up in her favorite Otome game, and guess what? She's the villain of the game. However, she's nothing like the villain, so she tries to be a good girl and save all the love interests and everyone so she doesn't die prematurely, and so everyone has a happily ever after. Nothing much to say, I dropped this show about halfway through. It was kind of fun in the beginning, and the trailers had me believe it will be the serious anime that don't fuck around, but no, it's pretty corny. I got bored with it, so I just gave up on it. Going in terrible, Under the Potions one. There has been a decent amount of romances this year. And one that stands out is my love story with Yamada at level 999. Why? It's about gamers. Well, sorta. Anyways, I enjoyed it. Like yeah, I know it's a pretty cheesy anime rom-com. And the biggest complaint I've seen is that the one middle school girl could have pretty much had a Kane kidnapped by placing her on a date with a random sketchy-looking stranger and doesn't really get punished for it other than, wow, that was a bad thing to do. Never do that again. But I still like it, it honestly feels more natural to me too. Where instead of these two people immediately falling in love, they start off as random strangers, to buddies, to hopefully actual lovers. I'm gonna throw it in good and put it with the other romances. Briefly gonna cover this. Yuzuki family, 4 sons. After the death of their parents, 4 sons live together and we watch them go about their daily lives. It's a good slice of life. Such a shame what happened to Zom 100. Not as in the plot going downhill or anything, but it was put in permanent hiatus after episode 9. I hear it's coming back soon though. This show takes the question of would the fear of a zombie apocalypse disappear if it meant forcing to quit a job you hate? This show is just fun and honestly also kind of sad at times. But mostly fun. And again, we got girls with big tits and guys with rock-hard abs. What more could you want? It's the duality of man. Unfortunately, it being put on hiatus kind of killed the hype for the show, but regardless it's going in perfect. Yeah, I said it. It's going in perfect at the end though, but I mean that's basically just an S-, so still a pretty good score. And last but certainly not least, we have my biggest hot take of the season and possibly the entire year. I'm in Love with the Villainess is a show I was hate watching. It's a lesbian show about this girl somehow ending up in her favorite Otome game, and instead of trying to romance the guys, she instead goes after the villainess, Claire. Now, why is the show bad, Leishi? Are you a homophobic piece of shit? No, that's not it. I wasn't even gonna watch this show until I caught wind on how great this show was. And I was like, fuck it, I wanna watch some gay girls, but this show was just terrible. Not the plot's just your generic fantasy school story. But I really despise Ray Taylor as MC. They give her the personality of a bubbly, energetic woman hiding her pain, sort of. But they also decided to make her a stalker and harasser. Like, I'm not the best at romance, but I think there's better ways than being up someone's ass 24/7 and clearly bothering them. And like, they barely even mention Ray's behavior the entire show. Like maybe every now and again they'll be like, girl, you need to chill, but that's the extent of it. Like if Ray was a dude, that motherfucker would be in the hospital with several broken bones. And when the one prince tries to make advances on Ray, she's clearly disgusted, but like bitch, you do the same thing but worse. I fucking hate her. She gets a little bit better and more sincere with her feelings, but it happens way too late. Nothing much to say about Claire, she's just a tsundere. The princes are basically nothing characters, same with their friends. Anyways, enough rambling about the characters. In episode 3 they switch to a scene being like, Ray, are you gay? And she's like, oh yes I am, and blah blah blah. It's a fine scene, if not a bit out of place when it happens, but my biggest issue is when they try to paint Claire as a homophobe. Like this poor girl was been stalked and harassed by this gremlin, and she's the bad guy for understandably being uncomfortable when she finds out Ray is into girls? Anyways, in episode 9 I think they also compare homosexuality with incest because, spoilers, Claire's one maid was in love with her brother. And Ray says like, isn't it a shame society doesn't let us love who we want? Which is pretty strange to include in a lesbian anime, but okay. Then we're introduced to a girl in episode 10 who's the closest thing to an antagonist. Although a lot of people hated her, I actually liked her. Anybody who can wipe Ray's stupid smile off her face is good enough in my book. And surprise surprise, it ended with an ass pull revealing Claire magically got feelings for Ray somewhere in the show. The end. Now, I hate this show, but I will acknowledge I had fun watching it sometimes. Is that enough to save it from being at the top of terrible? No, but hey, that's like an F+, so that's something to be proud of. And that's it. We've reached the end of the tier list. I missed a few shows after reviewing some of the seasons. Tomo-chan is a girl I missed, I'd put that in great near the bottom. Vinland Saga Season 2 I also somehow missed, but that's going in perfect, honestly maybe even at the top of the list. And there was also a show I missed called Reborn to Master the Blade or something along those lines, but I didn't care for it anyways, so yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I've been Leishi. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas.